I was raised a country boy in the mountains I call home. Western North Carolina is where I learned to get along. And Papa taught me how to be a southern gentleman. Granny showed me all the strength of a woman's gentle hands. And Mama taught me how to face the world on headstrong. She said life will bring you problems, you gotta keep on moving on. And I wanna go back to my family and to my home. I wanna go back. That's why I sing this song, I wanna go.
I went to high school in Kansas City, Missouri, and of course, right from the very beginning, they had a good art department. That's what I was interested in doing. That's what I did. And my teacher was a very good teacher, and she decided around my junior year that she could get me a scholarship to go to the Kansas City Art Institute. So I pretty much decided on doing that. But during my senior year, my father called me into his office, and he said, well, he says, what are you planning on majoring in? And I said, art. I don't think you can make a living doing that. And I hadn't thought anything about making a living. I just was surprised. And he said, yeah, you're going to have to go to college to learn how to improve your life and how to make a living, get a job, whatever, and so on. We left it at that because I couldn't even conceive of doing anything else. It had never occurred to me. So eventually, in a day or two, he called me in. He said, I think I've got this figured out. He said, I'm going to let you take your art. But he said, I want you to minor in education, so at least you can teach and feed a family. I'm going to paint a peach, by the way, on here. And I'm going to do one on this side and then do one on this side so that while this one's drying, I can work on the other side. The first thing you do is to put your base coat down. A round circle is the peach. They're pretty much round, and with a little point on one end. And this is not straight paint. This is watered down considerably, about like watercolor would be. I'm going to turn this over and put another one over here so that I've got two peaches to work on at the same time. I've got the peach started and the paint is dry. You really only use, at least me, only use 3 colors to make a peach. Obviously, you start out with the yellow, a pale yellow background. Then I put in a highlight. All peaches have a highlight of white, and it won't show up too well yet, but it's there, and I need to know it's there. This lets me know that the light is coming down from the right side. You don't want your light source to come from different directions. It has to come from one source. So I'll turn this around and remind myself that this is the light source on this side. This is a red. We don't use red. Red is a real weak color frequently, but this magenta is a strong color. I put a little of that on the edge of this sponge and mash it around until it gets mixed in with a lot of the yellow. Got a soft variation in there, and this will allow me to pat onto the surface of the peach. Now, you all know that peaches, the red part of the peach is really a magenta color, a burgundy sort of, so it looks perfectly natural to choose that. This is the edge. Of course, they're round. I've got to indicate to the person when he looks at it that this peach is round and it has not been flattened out. Nobody ironed it before we painted it, so it's still round. This is very easy to work with. This is just the edge of a piece of sponge I've got. Makes a nice edge. And in order to turn anything and to make a curve in a painting or a shape of anything you're doing, you need three colors. A color on the far edge, the middle color, and the one on the inside. And the one on the inside, which will make that not just be a stripe, but will make it be a hill that goes down behind this other part. I'll just try to show it. I'm taking a little white and going down the edge of that magenta and yellow chain, and that makes that curve just like a peach does. A little bit more of that deep color in there looks good. And now it's time to get back and put some more white in there to get that highlight. So there's a little yellow in this white now, but it'll still show up as white. And it looks very natural. I'm rather proud of that. All I do for a stem at this point is to make a brush stroke of brown. The next thing that I do, and still with brown, is to indicate the branch of the tree, the small branch of the tree that the peach is coming out of, growing out of. And I do that with a combination of brown, and I'll do that on both sides, and then I'll get some black. He wouldn't let me go to the Kansas City Art School. I had to go to the college of his choice, which was his old alma mater. But then I realized the Korean War was starting up and everything, that if I just played it cool, I was 15 at the time I went into college, that I could get to art school on a GI Bill because I would be drafted. That's exactly what happened, and when I got out of the Army, I immediately enrolled in the art school, and I went there for 2 years, and I was very happy about it. Favorite professor there was Ross Brought. You hear about him now in New York. You didn't hear much about him then, but he was sort of a genius in the making, I guess. Anyway, as soon as he died, he became famous. However, after a couple of years of it, I was finished. I found out something. You can go to art school, but you can't learn how to draw. You either draw or draw, or you don't. Art school was to learn the techniques like, stone engraving and lithography and things of that sort. And a lot of anatomy. I took anatomy, life drawing, life painting, sculpture. All of a sudden one day I was finished and I wanted to go to work. Well, my father had told me years ago, if I went to college, if I would minor in education, I could at least teach. And that's exactly what happened to me. I got married and had a family and I went to teach.
And I want to go back to my family and to my home. I want to go back. That's why I sing this song. I want to go back. Leave the world outside in the cold. Down tobacco